Are you tired of losing and feeling out of control with your sports betting? Today, I'm going to talk about how you can turn those losses into calculated wins. My name is Ken. I'm with Bettor Culture. I've been sports betting since I was in high school and probably for the most of my life of sports gambling, over 10 years for sure. I was a losing sports gambler, and that's because I did not understand this game until somebody took me under their wing, professional sports gambler, and I learned everything that he had to teach me. And I continue to learn every day because this game is constantly changing. And, one of the things that I've realized is that if you are addicted to sports betting, you will actually never become a winner. So think about that. If you're addicted to this game of sports gambling, you will never become a true winner. And because addicts, they have no control. And that's what we're trying to teach in this video. I'm going to teach you how to manage your gambling habits so that it will help improve your betting strategies. But first of all, let's talk about what is a gambling addiction, or even a gambling addiction disorder, they might say. And I'm very familiar with this because this ran in my family. My dad is like the definition of this. And here is some of the signs and symptoms from the Mayo Clinic that they talk about. Number one, being preoccupied with gambling, such as constantly planning gambling activities and how to get more gambling money. So I know that being preoccupied, right? So if you are looking at your phone all the time while you're hanging out with family or you're having dinner, always to watch that score. I know you guys do it. That could be a sign of gambling, compulsive gambling or gambling disorder. And it's not always. I know you want to keep track. You want to see where you're at. You want to keep track of your bets, but it might be too much. Just think about that. It might be too much. Number two, needing to gamble with increasing amounts of money to get the same thrill. We all do that, right? And that's kind of just a progression of where you're at with your money. Maybe you are making more money now, so maybe you need to gamble more. And that's not always the best idea. Even though you're making more money, you don't want to always gamble more money. So that has to do with bankroll management. So keep that in mind. Trying to control yourself. This is number three. Trying to control yourself by cutting back or stop gambling without success. So if you've ever tried to stop yourself from gambling and you keep going back to gambling, you probably have a gambling disorder. Number four, feeling restless or irritable when you try to cut down on gambling. So if you can't sleep, I know this, and people, especially when you lose that next day, you're just like in a very bad mood. I've experienced that so many times. Gambling to escape problems or relieve feelings of helplessness, guilt, anxiety, or depression. Are you experiencing that? Here's another one, chasing losses, trying to get back lost money by gambling more. Another common one, lying to family members or others to hide the extent of your gambling. I know you're not telling your wife exactly how much you lost. And here's another one, risking or losing important relationships, a job or school or work opportunities because of gambling. Maybe you skip out on doing some work because you decided to go gambling instead. This one's the biggest one, asking others to bail you out of financial trouble because you gambled money away. That one hits home to me. My dad had to borrow money from me so many times to cover his sports gambling addiction, right? So, those are problem gambler signs. And if you have any of those, you're a problem gambler. And let's try and address those things so that you can turn that whole problem gambling into actually winning. And that's what I did, right? So one of the things that the difference between problem gamblers and a casual gambler is that casual gamblers, they know when to stop. But one of the things about a winning sports bettor is that they know when to keep going. Okay? There's a difference there. Okay, so let's talk about how you can regain control of your sports gambling addiction. Number one, and this is probably something that I see with all sports gamblers, is drinking alcohol and betting. And that is probably what everybody does. You're drinking and gambling at the same time. And as I go through my professional network of sports bettors who are in this game professionally, not all of them drink, and they don't drink, like crazy. And because they take this game as something like a job, not for fun, right? So that's how you if you want to stop, you got to stop allowing yourself to drink and bet. That's a big no-no. You also want to be setting limits on yourself. That's probably something that you're not doing already, and that's why it becomes a problem. And one way to set limits and to know where you're at is if you were to log your bets. If you logged it, not keeping track in your app or whatever, you have to log it in a separate way so that you know what's happening, what's been happening, what's going on. And, if you took a loss last week, you probably want to take a break and at least for a week or 2 weeks to regain some more money and just kind of chill out. So take a break. And if you try these things and you still are having problems, you really need to seek professional help. I'm just here to help give you some tips. One of those things is um, that when I was first gambling, I remember just playing for fun, right? And most people play for fun, but if you want to not be an addict, you have to change your mindset about sports betting. And, if you don't consider yourself an addict, maybe you consider yourself, you do it as entertainment. And that's probably part of the problem because who doesn't want to be entertained, right? But you can let that thing get out of hand. So, in order to change your mindset about who you are as a sports gambler, you got to change the activity of sports gambling from an entertainment only into serious trading. So that's how you want to change your mindset about it. You don't look at sports gambling as I just want to have some fun, right? You gotta change how you look at it and say like this is something serious that I'm gonna take serious. And so if once you start taking things seriously, you will start to log things, you'll start to track things, you'll start to stick to rules, and that's how you have to approach sports gambling if you don't want to become an addict. Real professional traders, they use stats and information to make their plays, but gamblers, sports gamblers, they oftentimes use their feeling. I have a feeling this and I have a feeling that, and they're not using real stats to make their bets. Professional traders, they don't care who they're betting on or what game it is, but if you're a gambler, it's very important that you bet on the big games, the games that are on TV. But real traders don't, that doesn't really matter. And oftentimes that they like to take games that nobody's watching because the lines are easier to hit. Also, traders don't need a bet in a day, right? They don't need to bet that day if they don't see something that is worth value. But gamblers with addiction, they always need action every day, right? So, they're always looking for that action. And, I made this transition of being just a entertainment only sports gambler. What did I consider myself a gambling addict? Well, according to those symptoms and signs, I did show some of those signs, but I never considered myself a gambling addict because in reality, I could stop, I could take a long break, but eventually you always do come back to it, right? But one of the things that helped me is like I changed my mindset about this game. I saw my dad losing a gambling addict, and I made the decision to actually figure out how to actually beat this game. And that's why I'm here today sharing those kind of things with you, because I learned to take this sports betting seriously, and that's what helped me be able to make professional money in this industry. And part of that, it was implementing bankroll management. And we all know that you got to set your limits. You have to be only risking what you can afford, because anything other than that, you'll start lying. You'll start having bad feelings about how much you lost. And that's just a spiral down the wrong rabbit hole that you definitely don't want to go to, which you may have already been experiencing. Another way that you can help manage your betting is by setting a routine. So one of the things that I do is do some of the sports gambling in the morning. And maybe you keep it to that, because maybe at night is when you start drinking. Maybe you're doing too much things. You got lines up in the morning. Check it out, handle it, and then go to work. Maybe that's a better way to approach it, rather than doing it right after work, where you're tired. You're going to have a drink, you're going to watch the game, and then all of a sudden, now you're sports gambling, drinking, having a good time, using it as entertainment, as your escape from being tired from work. That's not the best way to approach your sports betting routine. So these are things that I wanted to share with you. I hope you found some value in this. Just know that if you have a gambling addiction, you are not alone. So many people out there, and you may not be the full extent to that, but you may have show little signs of a sports gambling addiction. And there's help out there. And for my dad, one of the things, I guess, I heard about remission. You can stop it, and then all of a sudden it can come back up again. And that's what I've seen in my dad. And it's sad to see. And if you have a gambling addiction, you either need to quit sports gambling altogether, delete the sports betting apps, delete your bookie's phone, just stop it. Or you need to fix the problem with sports gambling, which is setting limits, knowing your boundaries, and just taking this with a serious mindset, rather than looking at it as just having fun, right? So that's what I want to share with you guys. Hope you found value in it. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed already. I continue to share these videos, and this is Ken with Bettor Culture.